Well, Lisa, you said that color for radio. What did you see from your perspective?
That was fun. I think that's my future after coaching, is radio. Yeah, I actually thought towards the end it got a little sloppy when we got tired, but I thought we did some good things. We were looking for the right things. The turnovers that we did have came from um, trying to make team plays, which is good. I thought that um, I thought our offense was going to be, yesterday we scrimmaged in practice, and I think it was like 4-2. So I was unsure of how well we were going to score the basketball, and I thought that offensively we had some people look really good. Um, so I thought Z did a nice job. She just plays at her pace, which we want to get that maybe. We want to increase her pace just a little bit, maybe. But really, she sees the floor so well. She's got really good vision. She made a couple of decisions that she could have taken average shots, and then she got to the rim instead, or made a nice pass instead. So I think she has a really good feel. I thought Lauren settled in a little bit. It's her. I think she played in FanFest last year, maybe, but she might not have even. Yeah, no, okay. So it's literally her first time on that court, even though she's been here for a little while. I thought she had a nice game. I actually thought Inesh did a really good job of, making the reads. I think when we go too fast, sometimes we get in trouble because we try to pass or whatever. The read is just, did they stop you or not? Go make a layup if they didn't. And I thought 2 or 3 times she drove it in there and either made all 3 layups or definitely made 2 when it was the right decision. And she could have tried to make a difficult pass to somebody, and she didn't. So those guys stood out to me on that team. On the other team, I thought, Julia is going to give people problems with her length, and she's a really smart player. Allie, of course, Allie's going to be Allie. So I know that today she didn't necessarily make a ton of shots, but she's not going to be a problem. So I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good overall outing for our team, and I thought that they, I loved how Taylor ran the floor. So lots of good individual performances. I have no, they're talking to Steve. I'm not allowed to say, well, that wasn't what we're supposed to be doing, or I'm not listening to necessarily what the coaches are calling. I should be able to tell when I see it on the court, but I'm not so sure how good the execution was. I thought the individual performances were probably outshined a little bit of the execution, but when you make shots, it makes everything seem like it was going a little bit better than it may or may not have been.
Seems like there's a lot of depth out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that is interesting because at this time of year, I would say usually you start to see some separation, and we just aren't at that stage yet. I know that you kind of jokingly asked me who was going to start the other day. I don't know, and I definitely don't know who's going to be player 6, 7, 8, and 9 because at any given day we have players who are doing things. All of our returners have improved. All of our new players can play. So we have a lot of options, and I don't know if it's going to turn into something, which it depends on, who we're playing and where our strengths will be against that particular opponent or what it is. But we have a lot of players, those 4, I know Lauren didn't shoot it great in the first part, but those guys who shot in the 3-point shooting contest, there's a couple others we could have picked to go in that. So shooting ability is good. Physicality, a lot of people got rebounds. So I think that there's a lot of options for both offense and defensive success.
Is this typically a benchmark for you guys? Like, do you usually, when you're thinking of an off-season plan, say, okay, I want to be here by FanFest, and do you feel like your team's around that mark?
We usually have a pretty lengthy list of things we want to have like installed a little bit more. I think this year the approach has just been to get us, we've used the terminology more ready, which is very vague, right? Like, what does that mean? But I think that this year we definitely want to be understanding each other a little bit better. We definitely want to, know, I think our team knows well what each other can bring and has to offer. And then you can build on from that point with some of the install pieces. But I think we're certainly where we want to be, I think, at this time of year. So much growth to do. But, I think that of any years, maybe we're a little ahead of where we sometimes would be, and that's by design because of when we looked at the roster and just the youth and inexperience, we wanted to see if we could get ourselves ready sooner. So, we have a scrimmage next weekend against UNLV, so that will be kind of the next phase. We have a week to, the presses and the zones, we put them in with about a day and a half. So they're not very good yet, but they're in, So now we've got to work on getting good at all the things that we do.
Anyone else?
Taylor 3 half-court makes. Is she, like, when you guys do that at shoot around? Is she typically?
Well, we've only had one shoot around. I think she did make one this morning, but I said to her mom, her mom's a coach. So I said, gosh, I didn't know your daughter could shoot half quarters that well. She said, me neither. Usually the ball's always in a point guard's hands at the end, right? So we actually do kind of care that they can get it there. But I told Taylor, we might have to change things up if you're going to make them like that. We got to get the ball in your hand at the end of the quarters. So it was fun. I think she had a good time. Those transfers, today was a bigger crowd than they're used to playing in front of. So I just think it's fun to have fans that come out. They really are the ones that care a lot about our team and wouldn't miss. And that's a lot of people who care and wouldn't miss. So it was a fun day. I'm of course don't care. I'm for all the players, but my husband will be happier too. So it's better for me when it goes this way. Doesn't usually. So
Did you come here?
they're here. It's closed, but yeah, they're here this year.
All right, thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you guys.